Hey all, this is a movie book travel lovers. Our video today is about Martin Scorsese's upcoming film Killers of the Flower Moon. This is one of the most anticipated movies of 2023 and the strongest contender of the Oscars race. Let's find out some interesting facts about the movie and what to expect from it.
Whose land is this? My land.
The movie is an adaptation of a non-fiction book written by the best-selling author The New Yorker magazine David Crane. The book was released in 2017 and it is called Killers of the Flower Moon, The Osage Murders and the Birth of the FBI. Upon its release, the book earned a lot of attention because it captured a part of American history that many don't know about, and included accounts from actual Osage tribe members. The story is set about 100 years ago in the early 1920s, and follows the investigation of a series of murders committed in Osage County, Oklahoma. These murders are affiliated with the discovery of oil on the land owned by the Osage people. The murders were committed systematically, resulting in the death of up to 20 people, though the author of the book, David Crane, suggests that in reality even hundreds of people were killed because of their relationship with the oil. The FBI, which was still in its infancy back then, conducted a thorough investigation that involved J. Edgar Hoover and resulted in the arrest of just one man, cattleman William Hale. These people were located in the Ohio and Mississippi River valleys. The Osage Nation were part of the forcible displacement of Native Americans by the United States government in the 19th century. Eventually, the Osage settled in Indian Territory in modern-day Oklahoma. Their people legally purchased the reservation land, which made it more difficult for the US government to impose a system of allotment, under which native land was carved up and given away to white settlers. In 1906, Osage Principal Chief James Bickard, along with a half-native lawyer named John Palmer, negotiated an agreement with the US government giving each Osage member a head right, or share in the tribe's mineral trust. Head rights could not be bought or sold, only inherited. This became extremely important just a few years later, when oil fields were discovered under the Osage land, with much of the profits from the subsequent drilling legally belonging to the tribe. By the early 1920s, the members were richest people per capita in the world. In 1921, two Osage members, Anna Brown and Charles Whitehorn, were murdered within days of each other under suspiciously similar circumstances. Both had been shot and their bodies had been dumped in isolated rural areas. Shortly thereafter, another Osage man, Henry Rohn, was discovered dead behind the wheel of his car. He had been shot in the back of the head. 24 people were eventually murdered in what the tribe began to call the Reign of Terror. On January 4, 1926, William Hale and Ernest Bogart were arrested for the murders of Bill and Rita Smith in Nettie, Brookshire. Martin Scorsese admitted that while reading a book he was intrigued to turn the story of Killers of the Flower Moon into a movie. The first thing he did was to contact members of the Osage people, so he met the current chief named Standing Bear to convince them about the project. Meeting lasted for 2.5 hours and finally Mr. Bear gave his approval, so the planning of the movie started. In an interview for Variety, the star of Killers of Flower Moon, Lily Gladstone, commented on the mentioned fact. As she said, "The work is better when you let the world inform the work." Martin Scorsese has worked with some of the greatest actors in the industry, so it is not unexpected that he has his favorites. With regard to the cast, Killers of Flower Moon will be the 6th time when Leonardo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese have worked together on a feature film. Moreover, it will mark his 10th collaboration with Robert De Niro. Interesting fact is that Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro also had worked on the same movie This Boy's Life 28 years ago, in 1993. What makes this even more charming is that it was Robert De Niro who introduced DiCaprio to Scorsese after the first movie they shot together. Martin Scorsese himself posted on Instagram that both superstars were cast for the movie, and he did so by sharing the news on his Instagram feed on July 29th, 2019. In Killer of Flower Moon, De Niro plays William Hale, the bad guy, and DiCaprio plays Ernest Burkhart, the bad guy's henchman. Last year, Oscar winner Brendan Fraser also joins the cast. Actually, he was the first Canadian to win the Academy Award in the Best Leading Actor category. The actor plays the role of Double S. Hamilton, the corrupt attorney who works for William Hale, played by Robert De Niro. The book was turned into a script by a famous writer as well, by Eric Roth. Roth has worked on movies like Forrest Gump, The Insider, Munich and The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Martin Scorsese also worked on the script with Eric Roth based on the information provided by IMDb.
And the Oscar goes to Eric Roth for Forrest Gump.
David Grant sold the movie rights of his book for USD 5 million. He did so in 2017 when Imperative Entertainment paid this huge amount. The budget of the movie is also enormous. It suddenly rose to USD 200 million, what apparently made Paramount Pictures a bit nervous. Interesting is the fact that even though Killers of the Flower Moon has such an enormous budget, it doesn't play with special effects. Killers of the Flower Moon premiered at the 2023 Cannes Film Festival. It was hailed as a magnificent work and the best performance of Leonardo DiCaprio's entire career. In a press conference following the film's world premiere, the current leader of the Osage Nation, Chief Standing Bear, emphasized, "My people suffered greatly, and to this very day those effects are with us, but I can say, on behalf of the Osage, Martin Scorsese and his team have restored trust, and we know that trust will not be betrayed." Movie received positive feedback from critics as well. According to The Guardian, this is an utterly absorbing film, a story that Scorsese sees a secret history of American power, a hidden violence epidemic polluting the water table of humanity. The Hollywood Reporter underlined that 3.5-hour running time is fully justified in an escalating tragedy that never loosens its grip, a sordid illustration of historical erasure with echoes in today's bitterly divisive political gamesmanship. The movie has 89 points out of 100 at Metacritic, so the expectations are higher than ever. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Share your opinion with us, we deeply appreciate it. See you very soon.